بنت العربان يا بوي لهلي بونار يا بوي.
This episode was written in Arabic and translated and dubbed into English.
أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من بودكاست.
Welcome to a new episode of Aswatona. In this episode today, we will take you to Iraq and Sudan and tell you about what's happening there. I'm Sondos Ayoub, a podcaster from Sudan.
And I am Farah Adnan, a journalist and filmmaker from Iraq.
تغير المناخ أكبر تهديد للصحة يواجه البشرية بحسب تقرير.
Climate change is the biggest health threat facing humanity. According to a 2022 World Health Organization report, the World Health Organization stated that climate change is projected to cause about 250,000 deaths each year from 2030 to 2050 due to malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress. Iraq is the fifth most vulnerable country to climate change, according to the United Nations. And this raises alarm regarding the direct impact on health of Iraqis, especially their sexual and reproductive health.
تحدثت مرة مع طبيب عراقي أخصائي في علاج الضعف الجنسي.
I once spoke with an Iraqi doctor who specializes in treatment of sexual dysfunction, and he explained to me how some of his patients lack awareness and ways to access proper health care, which causes many health problems, some of which lead to an unhealthy sexual relationship and perhaps even to sexual dysfunction. The doctor indicated that some patients are embarrassed to talk about the issue. And due to social norms, some of them prefer to take aphrodisiacs and boosters to increase fertility and have children without consulting a doctor, thinking it may cure them, unaware of negative impact on their future health. High temperatures, droughts, and other climatic changes happening in Iraq every year, along with pollutions in the air and waste built up in several areas of the country, lead to the spread of dangerous diseases that can affect the reproductive system of both males and females, as well as the health of pregnant women and children. This calls for a serious response to confront these climate changes and provide safe and comprehensive health care while promoting sexual health awareness. However, even in this context, justice remains elusive. The most vulnerable people who lack access to clean and comprehensive health care, leading to health and social problems, are those in areas suffering from unemployment and extreme poverty in wealthy Iraq. Additionally, people who have been displaced from the countryside and marshes to other areas due to droughts and lack of access to water are also at risk. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, estimates in 2022, 80% of those displaced by climate change are women. When women are displaced, they become more vulnerable to violence, including sexual violence, as confirmed by the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights.
تعرف منظمة الصحة العالمية الصحة الجنسية وفق دليل عملي نشرته بعام 2019.
According to a practical guide published in 2019, the World Health Organization defines sexual health as a state of physical, emotional, psychological, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease, imbalance, or disability. Sexual health requires a positive and respectful approach to sexuality and relationships, as well as the possibility of having enjoyable, safe, and sexual experiences free of coercion, discrimination, and violence. In order to enjoy and maintain sexual health, the sexual rights of all persons should be respected, protected, and realized. Reproductive health means that people are able to enjoy a responsible, satisfying, and safe sex life and have the agency to decide whether they want children, when, and how many. This includes the right of men and women to be informed about safe, effective, affordable, and acceptable ways to regulate and achieve the fertility of their choice. It also encompasses the right to access appropriate healthcare service that ensures safe pregnancy and childbirth for women and provide couples with the best chance of having a healthy child. According to the World Health Organization's practical guide, key sexual rights include the right to equality and non-discrimination, the right not to be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment, the right to choose the number and spacing of one's children, and the right to information and education. It is important to note that sexual health is distinct from reproductive health, but they are closely related.
إذن حتى نوصل إلى صحة جنسية وإنجابية.
Therefore, in order to ensure safe and comprehensive sexual and reproductive health for all regions of Iraq without discrimination, integrated health programs and care should be established for both males and females, particularly those directly affected by climate change and displaced from their areas. This should go hand in hand with the promotion of awareness for responsible sexual practices free from violence and coercion, as well as raising awareness about the importance of developing a plan for birth control and ensuring the birth of healthy children.
الحاصل ده ما بس في العراق زي ما حكت زميلتي فرح.
This is not just happening in Iraq, as my colleague Farah mentioned. Climate change is also significantly impacting reproductive health in Sudan. In January 2021, I visited Kutum, one of the most beautiful areas in Darfur. I sat down with a group of girls and women, and we talked about customs and folk music. We laughed and sang together. They also shared with me the challenges that women and girls face due to civil wars, particularly in the displaced persons camp there. In Sudan, autumn is the rainy season, typically occurring from the end of May to the beginning of August, though the exact timing varies by region. One of the stories I heard relates to climate change, which has caused variations in rainfall levels, resulting in Nile flooding. These changing rainfall patterns also affect the courses of valleys and creeks. All of this had a significant impact on infrastructure and access to hospitals, particularly during childbirth, leading to unfortunate death of pregnant mothers and newborns each year during this period. Men often have no choice but to transport pregnant women in a chair, walking for hours over flooded terrain, because vehicles are unavailable and incapable of traversing the conditions, which itself poses dangers.
وما بس كده أغلب النزاعات في الحروب في السودان.
It's not just that. Many of the conflicts and wars in Sudan, spanning various regions like Blue Nile, Kordofan, Darfur, are triggered by the search for resources including pastures and more. Sudan has been home to pastoral and nomadic tribes following a specific route for many years. However, this route has been altered due to climate change, resulting in variations in pastoral locations as well as desertification and drought. Surprisingly, this seemingly simple shift in resources has become one of the root causes of conflicts in these areas. We frequently encounter the terms climate change and global warming, often associated with international conferences. Some tend to downplay this matter because they do not witness its direct effects. However, it is the developing countries that bear the brunt of its consequences. Even though we may lack the industrialization seen in other countries, the repercussions of climate change are truly global. If we fail to recognize this reality, understand its challenges, and confront them head-on, conflicts and diseases could increase, leading to the loss of innocent lives, including children and mothers. That's why the term climate justice emerged in 2000, during the signing of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. The inaugural Climate Justice Summit was held in The Hague, aiming to assert that climate change is a matter of rights and to establish cross-state and cross-border alliances to combat climate change and promote sustainable development. In 2002, various environmental organizations convened at the Johannesburg Earth Summit, marking the second summit a decade after the 1992 meeting in Rio de Janeiro. At this summit in 2000, the participating groups officially adopted the principles of climate justice.
في تقرير التقييم المناخي الدولي الرابع
According to the fourth International Climate Assessment Report by Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it was stated that low-income individuals and communities face a heightened vulnerability to environmental hazards and pollution. The challenge lies in the unequal impact where low-income communities require more time to recover and rebuild following natural disasters. Consequently, these groups are disproportionately affected by the increasing global warming resulting from climate change, as wealth plays a significant role in determining one's capacity to cope with rising temperatures. This disparity implies that individuals with higher incomes or greater wealth may have the resources needed to adapt or manage the effects of rising temperatures, whereas low-income individuals may lack such resources. Additionally, low-income communities often have limited access to crucial information, making it challenging to prepare for the consequences of climate change. Hence, environmental groups are advocating for the application of the concept of environmental justice to address these disparities. Thank you for listening to this episode of Aswatona. This is Farah, Adnan, and Sondos Ayoub. Best regards.